basically this is station number 1. This is where you will get your refreshments, your wine, your drinks, and snacks. And that's the general place right here. What I wanted to point out though is the trellis system that I designed. It's unique in so much that there really aren't too many other systems like this available, or anybody that anyone's used. And I think really the most important part to me as a homeowner was that you can see there are no diagonal lines. It allows me to do my lawn care really easily. Nobody's tripping over anything. I don't have to use a weed whacker around it. And most importantly, the posts and the horizontal beams stay straight forever. And it's really unique. And I suppose I should also point out that one of the most important elements that went into this design was not only is it a trellis to grow grapes that I can make wine from, but most importantly, it provides a privacy screen. And I really like that part. Really is what made me do it, frankly, is that I wanted to have some privacy. And it's such a natural way of doing it, and it changes throughout the season. Now what we're seeing here, of course, we can just do a little close-up. We can see the grapes just beginning to show their shape, but they haven't gone through what we call veraison. Veraison is when a grape changes from its green color into its natural color that it's going to be ending up with, whether it's blush or red or black or green. So here's station number 2. I'm growing a number of blueberries. There's 4 different varieties here. And this is my 3-year-old grapevines. And they're coming in. You can see the 3-year-old grapevines have their own grapes that are coming out here all the way through. A whole bunch of different varieties. And so I've been growing these for 3 years. They've made it through winter. 3 different winters, and so they're incredibly hardy. So this is just one of the pieces, elements of my nursery. The other point here I just want to reference is the fact that it's all automated irrigation, which makes it easier for one person to do all this. And here's station 3. Station 3 is the spindle apple system. Allows you to grow apple trees very close to each other, and I should be able to generate about 3 to 4 bushels of apples directly from this system right here. Now there's the 4th station here. The 4th station is a blueberry arbor, number 1. So it's set up so that's really easy for me to cover when it's time to harvest. This is post-harvest because this is all early blueberries. And so most of them have been already picked. I'm going to come around the side of the sprinkler right now so you can see, and then I'm going to get wet by this one. Here we go. And there's still some blueberries left here, but I'm sure by tomorrow the birds will have lots of those. If there's any left, feel free to try one. This is my blueberry arbor, and like I said, it's really easy to put my net around it when the time comes for that, because birds will eat it. This is the apple tree, beautiful apple tree I had to cut down, and I turned it into a climbing tree for my grandchildren. This is station 5, more nursery. This is my 4-year-old grapevines, and you can see they're a little bit more robust. I also have a bunch of trees that were quite impacted by that pest that somehow survived. I'm doing my best to keep them alive for see if we can get past this major assault on them. But anyways, this is another portion of the nursery. These are a number of different fruits. So I've got blueberries, plums, 3 different types of plums there, and in the corner a grapevine. And what's unique about these guys is that they were all pretty much close to death, and you know, I basically took them out because I couldn't really sell them, and bringing them back to life, and I'm pretty excited about how well they're doing. That's another one right over here. station number 6 here is my two-fruit arbor. I say it's two-fruit because I've got strawberries in the beds here. You can see there's a strawberry right there. You can see it. And they're really delicious. There's another one. Zoom in. No, we can't really because we're focusing on the wire. But this is the second. These are ever bearing. They gave me a tremendous harvest of strawberries earlier in the season, and those are all they're all in the freezer. And now I'm getting the second run of it, so that's pretty exciting. I also have grapevines that on each of the posts that I'm going to be running up and alongside, and so my goal was to have grapes basically hanging down from all the different tiers up there. So I'm looking forward to the future with my two-fruit strawberry and grape arbor. This brings us to station 7. This is my new crop of vines. I've got about 300 of them in here, and I've got 29 different varieties. Again, it's all that automated irrigation, so I'm really really happy that I finally, a lot of work to get it in, but I'm really happy it's in. And because now really I just got to make sure that they're healthy and as pest-free as one could possibly make them pest-free. And that's station number 7. So here we go. Here is station 8. This is, I'm really proud of this. This is the next generation 4-in-1 fire pit, but this is the propane version. So this one can actually sit on decks near wood because the flame goes up and the heat does not go down. You can see it's much thinner pan, and I've done a lot of testing on it, and there is no change in temperature at that floor level compared to the current air temperature. So I'm really psyched about that. There are no embers, obviously, so this version can work on decks and anything wood. So I'm really excited about that. So this is station number 8. Station 9 and 10, actually, you go through this door. And I want to welcome you inside the house. But what you'll see here, we're going to be going through the kitchen, obviously dealing with wine. This is where I do a lot of our tastings during the fall and winter, spring months. And I just have a few more left this year as we're getting close to not having any more wine. But I've got on Friday evening a group coming in. So I do small groups, and this is where we do it. And when folks come, they basically arrive and they arrive here. And this is where I greet everybody and they have a drink, and I'm going to hang that up hopefully today. Maybe not, we'll see. And then we come in here for the wine tasting. So this is station number 10, and these are some of the tools of the trade. This first one is where I destem the grapes. So I basically cut all the bundles of grapes off. They go in here, and when I turn it on, that cranks around and drives the berries between those two rotating discs, and that crushes them and takes the stems out. Now, how it actually crushes them, it separates the berry from the stem, which is useful because the stems are not useful at all in making wine. And down here, as that is passing through those two discs, these sweeping arms here, very sharp things, go through and push the stems right out the back here and out the exit, while the berry juice and berries come right down here into the bucket. So white grapes and red grapes are done differently. after the destemming process. So if it's a red grape, it's going to go into the bucket with its seeds and with its skin, and it's going to ferment there for about, oh gosh, 7 to 14 days, where with additional yeast added, perhaps. You don't have to. You can have it naturally. The natural yeast on the grapes typically is enough, but you can add yeast. I've done them both ways, and I like to add yeast because it produces more alcohol in the wine. So that's why I add some yeast to it. And the interesting part is, well, I could talk to you about that later, about where alcohol comes from. But it is the process of the yeast eating all the sugar, and then their byproduct of that sugar by the yeast is what makes alcohol. So for red wine, you need the skin and you need the seeds. That's part of the process and definitely part of the taste. White grapes, however, when they come out, the skin and the seeds are useless. So they will go directly, immediately from the destemmer. The white grapes go right into the bladder press. And I squeeze out the juice. And that juice, again, goes into the same sort of bucket as this and goes through a similar fermentation process, but without the skin or the seeds. Both white and red will ferment anywhere from 7 to 14, 15 days. And I'm testing it along the way in terms of how much alcohol has been produced in it. And at a certain point in time, I will end that primary fermentation process and start up the long-term secondary fermentation process, which is all done in these carboys, or if you've got stainless steel vats, etc., oak kegs, all kinds of different ways you can use it, and for that secondary fermentation process. But this is where the mainstay of that wine, as it ages and becomes really tasty, is done. And so those are my bottles, both 1 gallon all the way up to 5 gallon. And then here's what I've got left from last year's harvest. So we've been through a lot. I've probably been through about, if you look at that being a case of them, I've probably been through four of them so far. And I'm going to, I've got our tasting tomorrow here with the Souhegan Valley Chamber of Commerce. And I probably have a couple other tastings that I'll do, but I like the wine quite a bit myself, which is what I do it for. So I'm going to be probably holding off doing too many more tastings through the remainder of this season anyways, and we'll start up next winter again. And that's my little wine cellar. So we're now going to station 11, walking through the backyard, and you can see this is where a lot of work is done. There's my rototiller. I do rototill gardens in the spring. That's all my netting systems. Those are my supplies, both for posts, both the horizontal and the primary vertical posts. I use a lot of wood chips throughout the year, so that's the end what it looks like. It's usually stacked much higher than that. There's my trusty New Holland tractor, which I love, and the auger. There's my trailer, which I use to haul that tractor around. And so we're going to station number 11, and as you can hear it humming away, it's my pump house. And this is my automated system for managing the irrigation system. There's 2 minutes left of the watering. And that all is generated from a well that I dug 15 years ago, right at the beginning of that stone wall. I got it covered, you can't really see it, but it's a 16-foot deep well, and it generates all the water, at least so far this year, knock on wood, that I've needed for keeping everything irrigated and healthy. Now, station 12 is where it all started for me, although the posts are much newer than the vines. But this is where I really basically learned about growing grapes. This is my trellis system, as you can see, fairly similar system, but it's based on an arbor, and my goal was to have grapes hanging down, which as you can see we've got going here. it's just really peaceful, nice little area. And it does take some work to prune and get the grapevines to come up and around, but you know, I've had a lot of good experiences here, learned a lot of good tricks of the trade, so to speak. And yeah, so this is my back arbor, and this was the first vines that I planted. Down the back side here, and by the way, there's an entrance all the way down on the other side there, is a system that I built for growing two-dimensional trees. And you don't see any here because that pest attacked all these 4 trees. I had to take them out, but down there's a number of them that are down at the end there if you're interested. It's called espalier, and that method for growing two-dimensional fruit trees is something done quite a lot in Europe. So if you're interested, you can take a little walk all the way down there, and that's station 11. Now station 13 has more blueberry plants growing. This is a more blueberry oriented section. Got a few raspberry and blackberry plants down at the end there. And 13 also has in front of it, this is my next generation strawberry plant. So I just put these in, and the strawberries are rather small. But I've actually been getting some breakfast strawberries out of it. And you know, each morning I come out and pick them, but they'll give me quite a bit of strawberries next year. For strawberries, you get a good 3 to 4 years out of them before you have to replace them, unlike most of my other fruit will just keep growing, but that's strawberries for you, a good 3 to 4 years. So here is a mixture of both 4-year-old and 5-year-old vines and raspberries. Raspberries have already grown this year, and so one of the things I just want to point out that there's 2 kinds of growth to a raspberry. You've got your what we call primary cane and floricane. The floricane is basically last year's growth. So this is what grew last year. It gave fruit, and that's it. It'll die. Then you have your primocane, which is the new growth that's coming up. This will have fruit for next year, so you don't want to prune that off. But shortly, within, if I had time today, I would have done it. I would have cut all of that old growth out, so you could just see all the new growth. But I think now that I've pointed out, you'll be able to see it. I think when you look at my bushes that I use for my own portion, we'll see that in just a second. You'll see the difference between floricane and primocane. And here are my trees, and we've got about 250, 300 trees here of all different types. They're all fruit trees. I've sold quite a few this year, so that's pretty exciting. And we're just going to go past this nursery here. This is a plum tree who has no plums this year, and there's a whole reason for that, which I'd be happy to share with you if you're interested. So here are my raspberries. They've been really delicious and prolific this year. This is to the tail end of them, so they're pretty mushy right now, but feel free to taste any of them or try them if you'd like. But what I want to point out really is the difference between a primocane here. Look, you can tell it's really healthy. This is all being eaten, by the way, by Japanese beetles. So I spend each day going out and clearing my bushes of Japanese beetles. But this is your, so this is the primocane coming up, and here's your floricane, last year's growth. And each year I will prune back, so I have at the start of the year what will become floricane. I'll have probably a total of each one of these bundles, probably 6. Now, you don't see any of these trellised. Next year I will trellis them like I've done my blackberries, and here's my blackberries. A brand new product of King Street Vineyards. I'm building now these pergolas, and this is a sample one that we just finished, but I didn't have time to get the landscaped in for the flooring yet. So as you can see here, we've got, I'm going to be putting in slate here. But this was my goal was to have a nice little peaceful place to come and you know, have a glass of wine, maybe some cheese and crackers. So I'm really excited about this, and it's my brand. Besides having my brand new product for the propane version of the fire pit as an outdoor living product, this I believe is something that people generally would like to have in their homes. So I'm really excited about this year, and I'll be telling you a little bit more about it during my presentation. This is our surprise cherry tree. I've got it wrapped because if I unwrap it, the birds will eat it. So I want to open it up tomorrow so you can see how beautiful a red cherry tree looks. And I lost the one next to it, so I'm going to be planting this one. I was thinking I'd do it tonight. Hopefully I might do it tomorrow, but that's where it's going. And that's what this tree looked like 3 years ago. So and we have plum trees here, and then behind the plum tree is number 15, station number 15. Which is actually my second blueberry arbor. And if you're interested, you can take a peek inside. I'll have that opened up, and you'll see the blueberry bushes in there are rather large. They all started the same size as you just saw in my nursery, but I've got gallons and gallons of blueberries. In fact, our dessert tomorrow, blueberry cupcakes, as you would imagine, the blueberries came from here. And then we have station 16. Which is through three trellis lines. As you can see, the posts have remained straight, and that's really part of the design. There's no angle wires to keep them pulled properly. It's just the nature of the design here. I've had a tough year this year because it's been raining so much. There's been lots of fungus that I've had to address, disease, and I got attacked by a new critter called the grape berry moth. And the grape berry moth probably destroyed between 30 and 40% of my grape berries. And now I'm going to be prepared for him next year. So, but these are my three major lines, trellis lines of grapes. All told, I have about 100 vines. And station 17, more trees. These are my older trees, and I have all kinds of trees. There's a mulberry tree, which somebody's already reserved. That's my really large one. I've got apricots and plums and peaches and all kinds of cherries there. And then station, last but not least, station number 18. Oh, here are blackberries and different kinds of raspberries. Oh, and some dwarf mulberries, by the way. No, this is the KSV Vintner kit. So I put together a kit where a homeowner who wants to dig their own hole, they just want the supplies to do it. I provide the posts and all the wiring and the strainers and 3 vines, and that's just a basic startup kit. And that is the tour. I hope you enjoyed it and enjoy the food and the drink. Thank you for coming to visit King Street Vineyard.